Their bridge of continuity is Grace Slick, who spawns 20 years of rock tradition, and yet is as exciting today as she was on the stage at the Fillmore West in the 60s. And now, with the addition of Mickey Thomas and Donnie Baldwin, they've become as electric as the 80s. But they're as exciting as ever. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Starship.
Hello, everyone. There's a song out there that's been unfairly maligned for decades. If you look up any list of the worst songs of the 80s, one song is usually near the top. We Built This City by Starship.
This song would be a great anti-drug ad. Kids, this could happen to you too if you do too much acid.
And while the song is no masterpiece, I question how it's become the face of cheesy 80s production and synth overload so consistently across the internet. I mean, come on, people. You know, actually, what would happen was... Oh no, the music video is trash. We Built This City was released on Starship's 1985 album, Knee Deep in the Hoopla. You know what? I think I can probably already see some of the issues people had with it. The song details the music industry's history of exploiting artists for their own financial gain. You see, Starship is angry that music executives have taken advantage of musicians when they're the ones who built this city on rock and roll. Considering that Starship was now in their third incarnation in as many decades, I think they'd probably know what they're talking about. Song co-writers Martin Page and Bernie Taupin. Wait. Bernie Taupin? Really? Okay. The songwriters have stated that they originally wrote the song about the decline of live performance clubs in Los Angeles during the 80s.
It's an odd song because it was not written about us. It was not written about San Francisco folks, which some of the people in San Francisco are getting mad at.
I guess with the rise of MTV driving sales, live performances became less relevant. So let's see how Starship sold their song. We open on the Windows 95 desktop. So I know you don't come in right away. I thought instead of just having the guitar on normally to start, why don't you have it slung over your shoulder like you're a badass with a sports coat? 80s hair does not agree with green screen. The band members fade in, only appearing in black and white. Well, and purple. I don't think that I need to explain that these guys aren't miming to actual guitar parts. Guitars show up in the song later, but you don't need to be an expert to know that fake trumpets don't come out of a guitar amp.
The mirror! The mirror!
Of all the presidents, why would you plead with Abraham Lincoln to save rock and roll? Everyone knows that Bill Clinton is the rock and roll president, but somehow it works. Lincoln sings along, thereby joining the cause of rock. We then get a tour of the Vegas Strip. They need to stop doing these large class photo shots. Someone was very proud of the print shop CD-ROM they picked up for the edit. Thank you, Comp USA. These effects certainly don't look cheesy at all. Jesus, I didn't realize that the city they built was the Roku City. Mickey Thomas is so awkward anytime he's on screen. You'd think that a performer like this would be aware of how he behaves on camera. Like, look at him overacting here. It's like those photos from the Great Depression. How much further up can you go on this thing? Hey, maybe don't be jumping around and dancing so much when you're on a girder a mile above a city. I think my biggest problem with both the song and the video is that we're never sure what city Starship supposedly built with rock and roll. The DJ interlude mentions the city by the bay, which is San Francisco, the city that rocks, which is Cleveland, and the city that never sleeps, which is New York City. The video doesn't help at all. We see the Las Vegas Strip, the Golden Gate Bridge, the Full House houses, Luna Park, Chinatown, the World Trade Center, Piccadilly Circus, and the Lincoln Memorial. So now we have DC, London, and Las Vegas to contend with too. Thanks for that, Starship.
It means all cities, basically. All rock and roll kind of feeling stuff. It could be Tokyo, London, doesn't matter. So it's you built this city, not we.
So great, all you folks in Tokyo, London, and maybe even in the United States?
The voice of the radio DJ is former MTV head of programming Les Garland.
Here on Y95, where it is 8:38, and I'm Les Garland.
The explanation was that as a former DJ himself, Garland could authentically play a drive time announcer, but I'm sure it didn't hurt Starship's chances when MTV decided what to play.
We built Chip City. We built Chip City on all your dough. Built Chip City.
Starship. Their new album is taking over America city by city.
Do I have a sense of why people mock the song? It's a good question. I really don't know. It was a terrible video, cheap and ugly, and it got incredible play on MTV. I felt it didn't do the song justice. The song hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was nominated for a Grammy for Best Rock Vocal Performance by a Duo or Group. When the song went to #1, I said to Bernie, more than ever, people are gonna ask what Marconi Plays the Mamba means. He said, I have no f***ing idea, mate. Critics have not been kind to the song. It's ranked #1 on Blender's list of the 50 most awesomely bad songs ever, Rolling Stone's top 10 worst songs of the 1980s, and GQ's worst song of all time, among many, many others. In my opinion, these distinctions are very undeserved, considering that there are so many other songs that exemplify the era's biggest issues so much better.
Is there a better example of cheesy 80s music than the beginning of the song?
Yes, the production is cheesy, the wall of sound could be over the top at times, and the lyrics are whiny and border on nonsensical. But you're telling me it's 37 songs worse than Redneck's Cotton Eye Joe? It's 7 songs worse than Mickey by Tony Basil? Grow up, people. Any list that includes The End by The Doors and Obla-Dee Obla-Da cannot be trusted, by the way. I was upset at first, but the article was written with quite a bit of humor, so after about an hour, I laughed about it. I'm still here and Blender is not.
At a time when music was processed within an inch of its life, this is the high point brought to you by people who should know better.
I wonder if some of the hatred for the song is based on the history of the band. I mean, this is a band that pioneered psychedelic rock and played at Woodstock, and now they're recording an entire song about missing royalty payments? What a stark fall.
There's no question that Starship has come back, and though Grace Slick has been a rock institution since the 60s, she isn't fazed by the challenge of being a top draw in the 80s.
So you reintroduce yourself to a new generation or to a new audience.
The stakes were higher because of the band's past. People said, you have to carry the mantle of the 60s. Come on, it's 1985. If I must be the one to defend Starship's honor, so be it. It's not a terrible song, just a horrible, horrible music video.
We built this city on rock and roll. Yeah, right.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I always appreciate people liking and sharing my videos. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Do you know a terrible music video you'd love to see me cover? Drop it in the comments. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.
You keep your small-minded podunk town with no culture and an average Chinatown at best. I thought this city was built on rock and roll, but I guess it's just built on a bunch of bureaucratic pussies.